Al Capone, born on January 17, 1899, in Brooklyn, New York, would become one of the most infamous figures of the Prohibition era in the United States. His life and career epitomized the rise of organized crime during the Roaring Twenties, leaving a lasting imprint on American culture and history. Growing up in a poor Italian immigrant family, Capone's early life was marked by the rough streets of Brooklyn. His involvement in petty crime eventually led him to join the notorious 5 Points gang, where he learned the ins and outs of organized crime. It was during this time that he earned the nickname Scarface after a barroom altercation left him with scars on his face. Capone's fortunes changed when he moved to Chicago in 1919, just as Prohibition was taking effect. Prohibition, which banned the sale and distribution of alcohol, created a lucrative opportunity for criminals willing to exploit the demand for illicit liquor. Capone quickly rose through the ranks of Chicago's underworld, aligning himself with Johnny Torrio, another prominent gangster, and eventually taking over Torrio's operations after an assassination attempt forced Torrio into retirement. Under Capone's leadership, Chicago became a hub of illegal activities. He controlled speakeasies, illegal bars, gambling dens, brothels, and other criminal enterprises, amassing immense wealth and power. Capone's influence extended beyond mere crime. He ingratiated himself with politicians and law enforcement, ensuring protection and favorable treatment for his operations. Capone's reign as a crime boss was characterized by violence and brutality. His enforcers, known as the Chicago Outfit, engaged in turf wars with rival gangs, resulting in numerous killings and acts of intimidation. Despite his ruthless reputation, Capone maintained a charismatic public persona. He often portrayed himself as a modern-day Robin Hood, donating money to charity and hosting lavish parties that garnered him favor among Chicago's residents. However, Capone's criminal empire eventually drew the attention of federal authorities, particularly Eliot Ness and his team of Prohibition agents, known as the Untouchables. Despite their efforts, Capone seemed untouchable himself for years, evading charges of bootlegging, racketeering, and murder. It was tax evasion that ultimately brought him down. In 1931, Capone was convicted of tax fraud and sentenced to 11 years in federal prison. Capone's imprisonment marked the end of his reign as Chicago's crime kingpin. He spent the next several years in various prisons, including the notorious Alcatraz Island. His health deteriorated due to syphilis, which he had contracted in his youth, and he was eventually released on parole in 1939. Capone lived out his final years in relative obscurity in Florida, suffering from mental and physical decline until his death from a heart attack on January 25, 1947. Al Capone's legacy remains a compelling chapter in American history, symbolizing both the allure and the dangers of organized crime. His rise to power during Prohibition, his larger-than-life persona, and his eventual downfall serve as a cautionary tale of the consequences of pursuing wealth and influence through illegal means. Capone's name continues to evoke fascination and debate, cementing his place as one of the most notorious figures of the 20th century.